If you started a podcast hoping that it would make money, but right now you're just uploading episodes and waiting for it to turn into something, you're not alone. Because most podcasters don't fail because their content is bad. Instead, they fail because they have no monetization plan. What's up? I'm Caleb. I am the co-owner and the content producer for the Impulsive Podcast over the last 7 years. Within those last 7 years, we have gained over 4.8 million YouTube subscribers, over 3.6 million followers on TikTok, and over 1 million Instagram followers. And in this video right here, I'm gonna break down the 6 ways to make money on podcasts, including the one that everybody likes to argue about. But more importantly, I'm gonna show you the 2 methods that work even if you're not famous, you don't have a huge audience, and ultimately if you don't want to wait a whole year to make money. And if you want my full podcast system, I put together a free podcast course and guide that walks you through the idea all the way to distribution. The link is in the description. All right, let's get into it. Method number 1 is sponsoring your own podcast. This method works insanely well for business owners. I'm talking agency owners, real estate agents, lawyers, gyms, basically anybody who owns a business. And it's so simple. You don't monetize by chasing sponsors. You monetize by becoming the business that people trust before they even book an appointment. Let me explain. Imagine somebody is looking for a marketing agency, okay? They search on Google and then 2 agencies show up. Same ratings, similar pricing, and both of them look really legit. But one of them has a podcast where the owner casually breaks down things like why most ads fail, what to fix on your website before you spend a ridiculous amount of money on traffic, and then what good ideas actually look like and how you can get more of them. Now the person is watching this and thinking, wait, I already trust this person. That's the point. This is exactly what Logan Paul did. The Impulsive Podcast wasn't just content, it was trust and the attention machine. So when he launched Prime, he didn't need to find a sponsor. He could talk about Prime naturally during the podcast, tell a story, explain it, clip it, and the audience already cared. That is the play. And you can do the same thing at your level. Your podcast doesn't print money directly. It helps people decide to choose your business. So you become your own sponsor. The podcast does really that whole trust building process for you before anybody even reaches out. So method number 2 is affiliate links. This is probably the easiest money that you can add without changing anything with your content at all. Now, if you already use tools, gear, software, and products, and your audience would benefit from some of that stuff, like podcasting, like I have, you just put the link in the description. Now, I personally don't have affiliates in my video, but you get the gist. And yes, this could be for physical products too. Like if you're a creator and you swear by a certain mic, link it. If you're always getting asked, Caleb, what camera do you use? Link it. Other things could be like people asking, what platform do you edit on? What AI tool do you use? All of that can be monetized. And here's how I like to think about affiliate revenue. Use it to cover the cost of tools that you already use. It's not really the main plan, it's just a very solid bonus stream that stacks up slowly over time. Method number 3 is sponsorships, okay? Sponsorships, as everybody knows, are great, but most podcasters go after them just a little bit too early. If you're still trying to grow your business, taking on sponsors can honestly distract you a lot. Because in reality, you're promoting somebody else's business instead of building your own personal brand. And sponsorships come with a hidden cost, okay? You're not just reading the ad. A lot of time you're on the hook to deliver certain results. At that point, it's basically like taking on another client, okay? So I'm not anti-sponsor. I'm just saying that sponsors make more sense when you've built real influence and you've got consistent attention. Then sponsors aren't really a hustle. They're more of like a multiplier on top of your income. So method number 4 is coaching, consulting, and digital products. And to be honest, this is perfect for coaches, consultants, freelancers, agency owners, creators, or basically anybody who sells a service. And here in this example, the podcast works almost like a trust builder. You show up every single week, you share your story, you solve problems, and you bring on guests that your audience can actually relate to. And honestly, after that point, people start talking. They start thinking like in their head, oh, okay, like this person gets it. For example, if you're a marketer and you break down why ads aren't converting, and then you bring on actual marketing experts, your audience is gonna trust you. And the best part is they get to hear how you think. And so by the time they're ready to pay for help, you're there and you're the person that they trust. Now you just give them the next step. You basically guide them from listening to then getting help. And then boom, if they want help personally, they can book a call, apply, or do a paid or strategy session. Now, if they want something more simpler, you can point them towards something like a course, maybe a membership. Either way, you're not really relying on sponsors. You're really just monetizing the podcast by moving listeners deeper into your ecosystem. Method number 5 is selling guest spots. All right, this one right here is just like a little bit controversial. Some podcasts, they sell guest spots, okay? Meaning that somebody pays to come on as a guest. In certain scenarios, it can work. And there are some people probably out there that make actual money doing this. But here's the trade-off, okay? Once you start selling the guest spots, your podcast basically becomes the business. So yeah, it's real, but I don't know if I would recommend it to people unless you're building your whole model around that right there, and that's one of your purposes, or you actually have an audience that's actually already massive and people would actually want to pay for. And method number 6 is the YouTube growth engine. And finally, if you want to monetize faster, put your podcast on YouTube. For some reason, still to this day in 2026, most podcasters stay audio only. And that's fine, but in today's world, YouTube is the discovery platform. People find you through search, through recommendations, through suggested videos. So by only being audio only, you're putting yourself at a massive disadvantage. And yes, at that point, you can then start making money from AdSense. But that's not really the main reason that you post there. The real advantage is distribution, okay? You get reach, you get evergreen search traffic, and then you get YouTube to push your episode to the right people. So this is the beautiful part. Instead of only growing your audience when somebody shares your episode, you're growing your audience basically when you're sleeping. And then when the audience grows faster, every single other monetization method gets easier. We're talking sponsors, affiliates, products, offers, every single part of it. Now, before you go, here's the real point in all of this, okay? You don't need to have a massive audience to monetize your podcast. You just need one clear path from listener to revenue. So do me a favor and pick one method, and do your best to implement it this week. Even if it's just something as simple as picking one affiliate link in the description, putting it in the description, or maybe even one sentence at the end of each episode pushing the audience towards something. Doing something like that can change everything. All right, now tell me in the comments what your podcast is about, and I will tell you personally the best way that you should monetize it. And if you want to see how I generated over 8 billion views for Logan Paul, watch my next video.